Welcome back, everyone. I'm Shortcut Shari, and this week's tip, we're diving a little bit into Microsoft Word. I was inspired by a lunch that I had today with a potential client and friend, and I think this is something you might find helpful because it took me a minute as I was trying to answer his question to figure out what it was he was actually asking me. If you're working with long documents, you might want to create sections. Now, I have a short, long document here. It's about 7 pages. But if you're creating long documents, maybe they are large reports. I've worked with board reports, and you have different sections and you want to have page headers and page footers. There's a big difference between a page break and a section break. And so I want to explain the difference between those. If I want to control where my page breaks, I can insert a page break. I don't like that there's just this little bit of a paragraph and part of a table here, so I want to push that to the next page to make sure that all that information stays together. You can do that not just by hitting enter, 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 enter. You can select where you want the break to be placed. You can use insert and choose page break, and it will push that content to the next page. Now, something that's a little bit different is a section break. And the section breaks are under the Layout tab. And this is where you get to those really complicated long documents. So under the breaks option there, we have not only the page break, but we also have column or text wrapping breaks. And then below that, we have section breaks. And then when you create a section break, this allows you to create different headers and footers for different pages. So I'm going to go and double click in the header so you can see it just says header and header all the way down. If I want to create a section break, let's say we want to put the market trend on its own section because I want to change the headers and footers there. I'm going to insert, this time, on the Layout tab. Under Breaks, we're going to choose Next Page. Didn't really look like it did anything, but let's go back into the header and footer now. Do you see now I have header section 2, header section 2, header section 2. And I can link the headers to the previous header, or I can create unique ones for this section. So you have page breaks, but you also have section breaks. And one of the things he asked me is like, what are the keyboard shortcuts for those? Guess what? There are some. For just the page break, hover over it, and it'll tell you it's Control Return or Control Enter. For a new section break or a next page section break, it doesn't tell you what it is. There's no shortcut that pops up for that one, but I'll tell you, it's Control Shift Enter, and that creates a new section break. So Shift and Section both start with S. You know I'm an associative learner, so hopefully that'll help you remember. Control Enter for a page break. Control Shift Enter for a section break. That's my tip for this week. Thanks so much for joining me. I will see you next week for another great tip. Until next time, I'm Shortcut Shari, and it's my job to make your job easier.